وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Honorable Professor Emeritus Datuk Sri Dr. Osman Bakar, Rector International Islamic University Malaysia, Honorable Professor Emeritus Datuk Sri Insinyur Dr. Zaini Ujang, IIUM Board of Governors, Professor Fellow Kuliah of Architecture and Environmental Design, respected IIUM University Management Committee members, honorable guests, deans, directors, professors, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed with the session, let us recite the Kitab Al-Fatiha. Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. IIUM is a university guided by a profound mission with the foundation of Surah Al-Alaq, verse 1 to 5, as its philosophy, aspires to nurture individuals with ummatic mind. My name is Nurul Izzah, and I am humbled to stand here to facilitate the session among great minds and thinkers. It is with great honor and immense pleasure that we present the 7th Professor Fellows Lecture Series. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce our distinguished speaker, Professor Datuk Sri Insinyur Dr. Zaini Ujang. Born in Negeri Sembilan, Datuk Sri is a distinguished Malaysian scholar and environmental engineer. Datuk Sri has served as the Secretary General of 6 key ministries, including Higher Education, Health and Environment and Water, and was also Vice Chancellor of University Technology Malaysia. Today, Datuk Sri is a Professor Emeritus at UTM, Chairman of the IIUM Ranking Task Force, and a leading voice in environmental sustainability and higher education transformation in Malaysia. The topic Datuk Sri will be sharing today is Water and Civilization in the Age of Climate Change, Advancing Security, Sustainability, Rivers and Industry through Eco-Shift Governance. Respected guests, it is my honor to invite Honorable Professor Emeritus Datuk Sri Dr. Osman Bakar to moderate the session. Tafaddal, Datuk Sri.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning. Master of ceremony, or sister of ceremony, our special guest speaker, Yang Berbahagia Professor Emeritus Datuk Sri Engineer Dr. Zaini Ujang, who is an IIM Board of Governors, Professor Fellow at the Kuliah of Architecture and Environmental Design, respected IIM University Management Committee members, deans, directors, professors, and all of you who are present here this morning. So welcome to this lecture, Professor Fellow lecture, today to be presented by Professor Zaini Ujang. This is his second lecture as Professor Fellow. Because we want to publish all the lectures presented by the Professor Fellows, altogether 7. So I requested Professor Zaini to give one. This time the topic will be closer to the, basically in terms of the theme, with the rest of the professor lectures. So the topic today is very, very important. Water and civilization in the age of climate change. 3 big ideas there: water, civilization, climate change. So I would have thought that more people come to this very important topic, but it appears that some clash of programs this morning. And of course, the topic is something that is not unfamiliar to President Ujang. He is, we know his record as an intellectual activist on environmental issues. But now we take this issue up to the basically planetary level. And water is something that is highly valued in all human civilization. In the case of the Quran, the importance can be seen from the fact that the Quran itself makes many reference to water. So water is the fundamental basis of civilization. Like air, water is a basic necessity. But somehow we human beings misuse this, and our water sources, the original sources of water, becoming basically more polluted, and we are going to pay for this. Yeah. So this topic, very important topic. Before we proceed, I would like, of course, to introduce Professor Datuk Zaini. He doesn't need any introduction. But apart from the ones mentioned by our moderator, pengacara majlis, I thought for those of us who do not know, it's good for me to give the highlights, some of the other highlights. Yeah. Of course, he was, as we said, he was a former university vice chancellor. He was #1 civil servant in several ministries. The last was Ministry of Higher Education. He's basically very prolific author, and of course the very interesting one of books that attracted the attention was his book Japanese Ecosophy, A Traveler's Notes, published in 2019. So he's very much close to Japanese life and thought, and for which he was honored by the Emperor of Japan. He won the Medical Award in 2009, the National Malaysia Icon 2019, National Engineering, and so on. So he has many achievements. So he will speak on this topic based on his wide experience. We hope, inshallah, will enlighten us on the civilizational importance of water. Sometimes we take for granted. This is the problem. We take for granted. Water is everywhere. Yeah, we take for granted. But it has been mentioned by some scholars that in the future, we don't know when, but in the future, human beings will fight each other for water supply. Now, about that, water should be shared by humanity rather than we fight wars in order to control water supply. So with that, I invite Zaini Ujang to present this. Yes, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning to all of you, Honorable Professor Emeritus Datuk Sri Dr. Osman Bakar, Rector, respected IIUM University Management Committee, including Professor Datuk Sri Dr. Said Arabi Aidit, honorable guests, deans, directors, professors at various ranks, students, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this opportunity for me to speak the second time, IIUM Professor Fellow Public Lecture Series. This is done using PowerPoint myself. And this is by the assisting, this is the same slides, but assisted by brother AI. I'm not sure which one is better. But throughout this lecture, I'm going to use my AI-assisted slides. It took me double the time because first I have to prepare the slide in PowerPoint and then to convert them. It took 3 minutes for each slides to be converted. Yeah, so it's very lengthy. Okay. So the aims of this session, I hope that we will be able to talk from civilizational discourse perspective on water. And I will like to introduce climate change as a factor. And what is also important is our roles to ensure water sustainability. So what I'm trying to do, and this is very important, I have to say this very clearly, I will put a sticker called Protect Water. Last night, I had a dream. And my dream was presenting something without a sticker. So I woke up very early in the morning, 4 o'clock, and buat sticker ni. Sticker ni pukul 4 pagi. I think that's very important. This is a sticker for us to take notes the importance of the slide, especially in relation to our roles. Yeah. So this is what I plan to do. I would like to start this session by reciting a verse in Surah Yasin. وَإِنَّهُ لَهُمُ الْأَرْضُ الْمَيْتَةُ أَحْيَيْنَاهَا وَأَخْرَجْنَا مِنْهَا حَبًّا فَمِنْهُ يَأْكُلُونَ. There is a sign for them in the dead earth. We give it life, producing grain from it for them to eat. Yeah. So the key meanings of this ayah is about the dead earth. It refers to dry, barren land that lacks vegetation or life before rainfall. So this is very important. And let's start talking about it. I have been doing this for the past many years, starting from gathering data. So being an engineer, you are good at managing data. Yeah, Professor Fauzan can testify that. We have a new job called data miner. Whatever related data center, data whatever. So they are at the bottom part of the civilizational discourse. And then we gather that data, we give some meaning to it, who, what, when, where, and it became a set of knowledge, a corpus of knowledge. And then we are talking about what can we do with this knowledge. So it depends on our understanding and context. So today I'm not talking about the data. I'm not talking about the information. I'm talking about between knowledge and wisdom. I'll give time. I'm not sure how much will be allocated for us to discuss, probably some question for me to answer. Yeah. So when we talk about wisdom, we are applying knowledge with judgment to create value. So the key word is creating value. And this is what I think important for us. Otherwise, we found that there is no value in water. When I was interviewed to receive a scholarship from Malaysian government, at that time, probably I was one of the last person to be called for that interview. And the interviewers asked me question, what are your topics? I said, water. I said, why water? We have plenty of water. You should talk about biotechnology, nanotechnology at that time. So I was belittled by examiners at that time because the topic I was chosen was very ordinary, nothing special about water. Yeah, but I said I want to give value to the water. And tu dia kata, what value you are talking about? Let's talk about it. Yeah. So this is what I'm going to talk to you. Subject that has been there for many, many years, decades, centuries, ages. So it is mandatory for me to talk about my visit last year. This is World Lecture Tour. I had 100 days from April 16 to July 26, covering 15 countries. And I was talking about this topic largely. And some of them about higher education, but largely about water, environment, and whatnot. So, and this is what I'm going to discuss with you, to report to you what I have gathered throughout my journey. So during that journey, I had 8 important lessons that I put in my book. So there is a book. The book is supposed to be this book available by now. It's not yet ready. Kembara Dunia. In this Kembara Dunia, there are 8 components. One is theory of change, how a country like, small country like Norway can be the richest country in the world, say for example. And total factor productivity, why people in Netherlands works only 32 hours a week, say for example, and they are top in many things. Riverine ecosystem, that's the topic today, and then planetary health, the topic today. And reading culture, I'm not talking here today, academia, and niche area, and friendship. So today we are covering these two. I think this is the book I mentioned. So I'm translating the second book into English, around the globe, around the world in 100 days, because there is a book called Around the World in 80 Days. So I just want to make sure that the title are the same, not world tour, but around the world in 100 days. I give 40 lectures throughout and in 15 countries. So this is some crazy things that I've done in my life. I'm going to repeat that next year. Yeah. So before I travel, I must make sure that whatever I want to talk about, it's already transmitted through books. There will be 5 books. This is book number 1. It's book number 2 is ready. And book number 3, the English version, and 3 others, inshallah. So these are major countries I visited. Japan is noted discipline and harmony. Therefore, this book is cleanliness in Japan. Yeah. Scandinavia is green, egalitarian, and creativity. Germany, pride, precision, and efficiency. Switzerland is neutrality. You cannot trust Swiss people because they are very neutral. If they talk to Gaza people, oh, you are very poor. I'm very sympathy. We'll get some donation for you. But when talk to Israel, probably if you don't have enough money to buy weapons, we can, we can. So they will talk neutral. Whatever they support here, they also support the other parts. In Netherlands, it's about water. So I'm going to illustrate to you some of my observation on my visit to Netherlands. And I think they are the best to demonstrate the know-how, knowledge, and wisdom on water in the world. 2/3 of Netherlands are below the sea level, but they can survive. Yeah, so this is something interesting about them. So because it seems the book is available, there are many lessons about cleanliness that we have to look at. Begins with personal cleanliness. We are not talking about climate change and then talk about personal cleanliness. No, in Japan, start personal cleanliness, community cleanliness, and then talk about corporate cleanliness and climate change. But in many parts of the world, people started with carbon footprint. People start with ESG, SDG, and whatnot, and forget about taking shower every day. So this is something interesting about Japan. They take shower every day since ages. Yeah, this is, you can read the book. Siapa yang dah baca buku ni? Tak ada. So Puan Naimah dah baca kot. Halfway. So kita boleh buat book club. So Puan Naimah can talk about the book. What is also important is experiential learning. And in Japan, when they ask something, they do it experientially. They are not doing it cognitively. So this is very important. They teach people about cleanliness, looking after the environment, after the water resources, using experience rather than cognitive. Probably there is no question to be asked in exams, but they know how to clean toilets. They know how to ensure that their rivers are clean, their coastal beaches are clean. And this is also important. Sustainability should be guided by deeper ecological philosophy, ecosophy. Therefore, I wrote some books about ecological philosophy, ecosophy, not only environmental policy framework. And this is also related to our subject today. And then start with simple, visible actions such as keeping toilets clean, streets clean, and public spaces clean. So instead of we talk about things which is intangible, such as carbon emission, which is very difficult to illustrate. Okay, so I give one sticker here. Start with simple, visible action. So that's the purpose of the sticker. Wherever. Okay, this is climate change from a book called The Economics of Climate Change by Nicholas Stern. The report is also known as the Stern Report. And it was published about 15 years ago, probably more than 15 years ago, funded by British government. And this is the easiest way to illustrate the impact of climate change. If we have warm by 0.8%, the effect will be heat waves. This is what's happening in Europe now. I don't want to repeat. Ocean warming, Arctic ice cap melting, increased earthquake. So like yesterday we had earthquake. And the day before also earthquake. And throughout the world, the recent one is Mountain Ibu, Gunung Ibu, the Indonesia. And there is another one in Japan yesterday, Sakurajima. So this is exploded because of probably the impact of climate change. If we have more than 1% or up to 1%, we have rare species extinct, island nations underwater, and 2% Greenland melts, polar bears extinct, and water supply affected. So you can see that the impact of climate change mainly about environmental system as well as water. So it's very important. So according to Stern report, we have to act now by investing 1% GDP. And if we fail to do that, we will suffer 20% or lower GDP in the future. So from time to time, countries affected by climate change, you can see that they are in big trouble. Not only heat waves, but also lacking of many things. Yeah. It's okay. According to Paris Agreement, there are two things we have to do. Number one is to do mitigation. Number two, to do adaptation. Mitigation means action to reduce emissions that cause climate change. Emissions are mainly greenhouse gases, or normally we call carbon emission. I don't want to talk about it because there are a lot of chemical substances listed, but the major one is CO2, methane, and nitrous oxide. Yeah, so this is very important. And activities required sustainable transportation. We have a lot of EV cars, hybrid, PHEV, and whatnot. This is all things related after Paris Agreement. And then clean energy, energy efficiency, and whatnot. So afterwards, I'm going to talk to Puan Naimah and team on energy efficiency. Puan Naimah, we want to reduce 5 juta setahun energy efficiency. And then we have adaptation, mean action to manage the risk of climate change impact, disaster management and business continuity, flood protection, infrastructure upgrades. So according to climate change protocol or climate change agreement through Paris Agreement, Annex 1 countries must do mitigation. And they must also doing adaptation, but they are mandated to do mitigation. And non-Annex 1, they must do adaptation. If they want to do mitigation, they must get support from Annex 1. So Annex 1 countries are OECD countries. Non-Annex 1, including Malaysia, fall into non-Annex 1. So we're supposed to do adaptation. But between adaptation and mitigation, there are overlapping. This is what we are talking today. Yeah, the overlappings are the priorities. Because if you do that, you can report as adaptation, you can report as adaptation, mitigation or adaptation, both. So number one is water conservation. This is the topic today. Yeah. Number two is new energy system. If you use, say, for example, hydropower, tidal wave, whatever related to water, this is also what we are talking today. Local food, you have to have enough water to have local food instead of exporting food. Education, this is what we are here today. Yeah. Urban forests and complete communities in terms of mobility, lifestyle, and whatnot. It means if you are working in Gombak, you should work or you should stay around Gombak. Yeah, there is a book called 15-Minute City. 15-minute city means that your travel is maximum 15 minutes. Yeah, so there is now, especially among town planners, we have to develop a city of 15 minutes. Means that within the city, we have almost everything. A city means neighborhood or new township, whatever, yeah? So today we are talking about priorities, and therefore, I think building climate resilience is very important. I gave a sticker to the priorities. So the discussion today is about the priorities. So why water matters? Because according to Al-Quran, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. And we made from water every living thing. That's very important. Water is a foundation of civilization, for food security and prosperity, for public health and well-being, for culture and heritage, and for peace, stability, and sustainability. In fact, according to hadith narrated by Sunan Ibn Majah, the best charity is giving water to drink. Yeah, so this is very important for us to understand. Water connects civilization, human health, energy, industry, biodiversity, climates, and peace. I give you an example. This is site-specific and climate-dependent water resources. Some places in Africa, say for example, and the people are there with that conditions, very site-specific in terms of water availability and quality. And then we have climate-dependent. So people thought that climate dependence are in arid area. According to what I've read and understood, climate dependent are people like us. If there is no rain within one week, you have haze, very hot night, a very warm night, very poor water quality in your river and whatnot, because you are expecting rain for every alternate day, say for example. So we are more climate dependent compared to in Africa, because they know that they receive 10 mm every 6 months. They know already. But we receive 3,000 mm per year. So we expect 100 per week, mm. Yeah, less than 100, we are not able to survive accordingly, normally. So I give you an example, why Doha and Abu Dhabi, or you can Dubai can survive, can thrive. This is 1970 photos for both cities, and this is the cities now. And I think, and I have evidences that it is because of water resources. Yeah, because water, they use for water supply, for industry, defense strategy, recreation, and tourism. So many years ago, when I started my PhD in 1993, my supervisor was not, the area that we were working at that time was very new to him and to me, to everyone in the departments. And he asked me to communicate with a person called Professor Takashi Asano, from University of California at Davis. So since then, I tried to meet him, Takashi Asano, in conferences, writing email to him, and whatnot. So who is Takashi Asano? Davis at that time was very popular because of two persons. One, Takashi Asano. The other one is Professor Josh Tomanoboglos. Both of them wrote thick book. Yeah, very thick. You can ask anyone teaching environmental engineering. So you have to read their book. In order to finish a book, you have to extend from year, say for example, from module, it's not module then, kita panggil wastewater 1, wastewater 2. And then you have to go to advanced wastewater, which is master's program. So the same book, yeah, because you read them different chapters. So when I was introduced to him, and he was my external supervisor for many years, including after completing my PhD. And at that time, he told me about his journey. Kata, Zaini, I want you to be in my team. Why? Because I'm working with Gulf countries. I was invited by the Emir at that time to go to Qatar, to go to UAE, to go to that country to find new water for them. And the new water is reuse wastewater. And he wrote a book, this is the book, Wastewater Reclamation and Reuse. And this book, when it was published in 1998, I was the reviewer of this book. Yeah, so I was very happy. Buku ni tebal ni, saya nak bawa tadi, tapi I don't have enough space because I want to sell other books. And then when the book was published, I was very happy. He gave me that copy. That copy tu yang saya nak bawa hari ni. So Dubai and the rest was transformed because of two things. One, water technology and water system. What are the main water technologies? Membrane filtration. So this was the topic of my PhD at that time. And microbial ecology, this was my research throughout. So I was known in my field because of microbial ecology, not because of membrane, because I couple membrane and microbial ecology within the same reactor. So we have membrane bioreactor at that time. So I was one of the pioneer in this field many years ago. And then digitalization. And from water system, the reuse of wastewater. This is the key one. In the past, we don't talk, we didn't describe the water we want to, the dirty water that we want to treat. But this is very specific reuse after usage in cleaning processes, in toilets, in bathroom, in industry and whatnot. We treat them using membrane filtration, and then it became membrane bioreactor. And then we can reuse it, yeah. And then downstream water storage. Now we have in Malaysia, we have Rasau, off-river storage. We have many things. So at the end of the day, we can see that these are the systems available. So I give one star, one sticker to the technology and as well. So at that time, when we started thinking about it, so there was a rejection by the ulama at that time. You cannot use wastewater for many things. Yeah, what else to drink? Remember, new water in Singapore started in 2001. So this is prior to that. Yeah? No one produced anything yet. But the idea was there. But this investment is billion. The moment you want to do it, it's billion. You cannot stop. And we managed to get some fatwa on this. Say, for example, this is the fatwa was before, but this was a question asked, and then he replied. Yeah? Say, for example, the Saudi Council of Senior Scholars and the Jordanian Iftar Department ruled that reusing treated wastewater is permissible for agricultural irrigation, and non-drinking public utility, provided the treatment thoroughly removes harmful impurities and possesses no health hazard. Yeah. So whatever. And then we start to ask around. So then Yusuf Qaradawi gave a fatwa. Yusuf Qaradawi said, thoroughly treated with water and permissible for reuse, including ritual purification and drinking, provided that modern technological purification completely removes all traces and poses no proven risk to human health. So it's okay. Yeah, because we told them the water that we are drinking is not from pristine purity sources. You think of river of Sungai Langat or river of Sungai Klang, it is basically accumulation of waste. Yeah, accumulation of discharges, and downstream we process, say for example. And when you talk about drinking water from Sungai, I give you example. Sungai mana? You give example. Sungai Gombak is too short. Ni ada daripada air Selangor ni. Sungai Kelang is not classical. Sungai Langat, No, I just want to. Sungai Langat, okay? So people in Putrajaya and Bangi receive water supply from a treatment plant. There are two treatment plants in Sungai Langat, Sungai Langat 1 dan 2, and it is downstream of Bangi, downstream of Kajang, downstream of apa lagi? Ceras, downstream of everything. We treat that water and then we supply upstream. Yeah. So this is something interesting for us. So we allow them to be in the open and then we extract them again. But in reuse, the context that I'm talking about is still in the pipeline. So instead of wasting the water to the environment, and we have other natural processes that reduce the amount of water through evaporation and whatnot, we keep the water intact, 100%, and treat it, and then we recycle within the system. So this is what Yusuf Qaradawi mentioned in this fatwa. So water is a bloodstream of civilization. Sometimes our blood are polluted because you drink too much sweet, sugary materials, say for example. So you have high sugar in your blood, but you can treat them. Sometimes you have a lot of other impurities. So the same thing happened to water. Yeah. And the way our body treats impurities in our blood is through membrane surfaces. Yeah, so this is very important. The membrane is mimicking what is available in our body. Yeah, the separation in your kidney, the pressure in your stomach, that your body extracting nutrients and good minerals or water, whatever, is through membrane separation. So water in the blood stream of civilization involve 5 major components. One is the quality. We have to have very good quality of blood or quality of water. The enough quantity, accessibility, reliability, and sustainability. So let's talk about them. These are the bloodstream of the environment. Yeah. Say for example, features, how its function, flow. Blood in our body cannot be stagnant; they must flow. Connectivity, biodiversity, resilient human connections. How to purify water in the river. So we call them a healthy river ecosystem. It might be source protection, safeguard heat waters and catchment, natural filtration through wetlands, riparian forests, and floodplains, pollution control, reduce sewage, industrial discharge, and runoff, wastewater treatment, as I mentioned earlier, remove nutrients, pathogens, and emerging pollutants, enhancement, how to make it healthier, restore river corridors. So it's very important. We have the Nai Sungai. or river trails. Yeah, this can enhance the health, the health of the river bloodstream. Rehabilitate riparian zones, reconnect wetlands and floodplains, increase biodiversity. So these are simple things that I can list down, so easy for people to understand. But what is important here, the way we treat river is the same way we treat our blood in our body. Yeah. So I'm known for this diagram. So a lot of people quoting me for this. In terms of value creation, remember water. What can you do with water? I give you better value. Yeah. So we need value creation. So despite water is for ages we're talking about it, but this is different value, and this is utilization. In the past, rivers are considered as affluent receiver. Whatever we treat, and the design of the quality of river is depending on the quality of the receiving river. If the water body is big, so as a result, we can discharge more waste into it. And then pollutant dilution, and then transportation. So if we stop at that level, we are having value created to a certain extent. But sekarang ni tak adalah transportation out. There is no transportation in our river system. People are not coming to IIUM through Gombak River. Are we? No, none of you. Okay, so dah cancel. Recreation, enhance health, leisure, and quality of life. Drinking water sources, yes. Food resources, no. Yeah, and river economy, rivers as engine of sustainable economic growth, resilient, and community well-being. So these are steps, I think, very important, where people are surrounding rivers. We must remember, except Islamic civilization, the rest of other civilizations are all started with a river mouth or river catchment. Yeah, Sungai Melaka, Melaka as an empire started with Sungai Melaka. You name it. The borders between Melaka and Johor is after a river. The borders between Melaka and Negeri Sembilan is after a river. Yeah, so it's very important for us to understand the role of rivers here. So let's talk about civilization. When we talk about civilization, there are major 5 traits that we have to discuss. Number 1, knowledge and learning. How much we have learned from it. Yeah, values, education, scholarship. So whether we have that understanding. What are the rivers that we are talking about? What are the water related that we are talking about? Ethical values and good governance, environmental stewardship, economic prosperity and innovation, and social cohesion and cultural identity. So these are major themes when we talk about civilization. On top of, say, for example, leaderships, the names of the founders of some miracles in technology, say, for example. So knowledge that we have about the global water resources is very important for us to understand. So you must remember that 96.5% of water available are in ocean. It is salt water. And fresh water is only 2.5%. And we have about 0.01% atmospheric water. Yeah. Distribution of fresh water, 68% in glaciers and ice cap, 30% in groundwater, and only 0.4% in surface water. Means river, lake is only 0.4%. Kecil sangat. Yeah, that's key thing. River is only 1.6% of the fresh water. So let's stop. I make it bigger for you. So this is lakes, ice and snow, and we are talking about rivers. As rivers are only 1.6%, and this is what we are dealing with. This is how civilizations and empires started, with only 1.6% of the water available, and we are talking about fresh water. We cannot drink salt water. We cannot drink brackish water. Yeah. So look at Malaysia. 99% of domestic water supply comes from surface water. Surface water means river, and lake. Yeah, 1% from groundwater, mainly from people in the northeast, Kelantan. Total internal water resources is about 580 kilometers square cubic kilometer per year, and 30% used for municipal purposes. Main drinking water sources from tap water, bottled drinking water, and bottled mineral water. So this is about Malaysia. So since I personally found this important for me because Professor Rector wrote a book on classification of knowledge. So if I were to write a book again, I'm going to classification of rivers. So there are 10 rivers that we have to understand. Number one is natural rivers, mountain rivers, meandering rivers, braided rivers, sungai, Kelang, Sungai Langat, they are meandering rivers. Number three, braided rivers, we cannot find it here easily. Tidal river, it is in Singapore, in places like influenced by the tidal fluctuation. We have canals, we have channel of water, storm drain, urban river, and new river. New river is created river. There are a lot of new rivers now. So if you were to go to literature at the moment, mainly give you 7 rivers. But I think storm drain is also a river in the context of Malaysia, because originally it was river and it was drained. It was concreted. And then it became storm drain. And then urban river is something that we created, yeah. And then new river is something that we do it very easily in many parts of the world now. So, and these are the major river basin in the world. We have Amazon, Congo, Nile, Mississippi, and whatnot. I just want to tell you the knowledge about water resources in the world is fantastic. Yeah, you just can rely on some of this vast knowledge with references available, say for example, and published. I'm going to talk about this river because this is the rivers that I followed during my trip, 100 days. And the river that I'm talking about is Rhine River. So it has, it started in Basel. I was not in Basel, I was in Zurich in this trip. And then I went to Strasbourg. And then I went to downstream to Netherlands. You can see that yesterday it was a news that you cannot take cruise this month and next month in Rhine River because the water level is too shallow, and some of them are dried already. Yeah, so big thing, because in order for Switzerland to export and import their goods, they have to rely on Rhine River. You just imagine, cut off, no more. Yeah, and Strasbourg is very interesting because this keep on changing between France and Germany from time to time. After World War II, since German lost, so that's belonged to France. Prior to that, it was belonged to German, and prior to that, it was belonged to France. So they keep on changing. So, but Strasbourg is the biggest inland port in Europe because of the Rhine River. So this is in Strasbourg. This is taken by me, this photo. Ini bukan foto ambil mana. So it is for transportation, for water supply, for defense strategy. Whenever the enemies come, they open up the water. So the enemy will not be able to fight you because it was flooded. They can flood your enemy. They can reduce the amount of water so that you cannot use a river for transportation to fight. And it is also good for recreation. So this setup was there since 300, 400 years ago. The same buildings, this allocation. You just imagine the buildings, and this is where water flow are controlled, intact for many, many years underneath the building. Yeah, so if you want to learn about the beauty of water technology, historically, you go to Strasbourg. Ini macam campaign Strasbourg, or you go to Kuching, for that matter. Okay. So during the trip, I was looking at theory of change because one of the subject I was looking at was theory of change. Yeah. So how can they handle excess water resources? So you can see that they have, say for example, they have excess rainfall. They have to rethink. Countries like Netherlands, Strasbourg area, they have difficulties during high rainfall seasons. Why? Because they have to release water from time to time. And releasing water from time to time is not easy for them because they have to keep certain level in Rhine River. So otherwise, Rhine River will be flooded downstream. Yeah. And then they have to have integrated solution, capture and store the water. So the capturing of water is very important. This is what we are doing in Sungai Langat through Rasau, which is that was the last project I involved. It's about 4 billion, 2 billion for the water storage and 2 billion for the water treatment plant. And then flushing water, pollution, and eutrophication. So the problem of water is pollution. So as I mentioned to you, if you have excess sugar in your blood, you have to flush them out. So this is the same technology we use. Drink a lot of water, you have to, you take charcoal, you take some medication and whatnot. And then nature-based solution. So as a result, you get this. So say, for example, in Netherlands, you can see that they have a lot of canals. So this is water storages. And at the same time, they use it for transportation. They use it for irrigation. As a result, a small country the size of Pahang, where our rector was born, I'm not sure, received honorary award recently. That's the size of Netherlands. But they are the second biggest agricultural goods exporter in the world in terms of value. They are the biggest in terms of dairy products. Therefore, we have Dutch Lady. They have the best, you name it, cheese, anything related to high expensive products. So the producer are Netherlands. They have the best tulip in the world, despite they have very little space to plant the vegetations. Because this is theory of change. They are not talking about the water that they captured, but what to do with the water that excess in quality and quantity. So we have to think like that so that we can grow our country. So I give sticker to a sustainable future, not only talking about what we are. This is similar to what I mentioned earlier. So the principles of water management, the first one is to maintain the quantity and then to keep the quality. In the past, people talk about the quality first and the quantity later. But because of membrane technology, we can switch. Quantity matters more than quality because quality can be done by adopting technology. And then accessibility, reliability, and sustainability. This is very important. And there is a quote that I would like to mention to many people. Civilizations rise with water, flourish through wise governance, and decline when rivers are neglected. This is my phrase. You can quote me for this. When rivers are neglected, not rivers are polluted, neglected. You just need to know, where is your closest river? Tak tahu kat mana sungai. Where is the source of your water supply? I don't know. It means that you are neglecting your river. Yeah. The source of your water in this campus is within this campus, operated by syarikat air. Betul? Within this campus, in the land of IIUM. Information. It's not owned by the company. It's owned by IIUM. So you produce your own water, and the size of the water treatment plant is what we call 10 MLD, megaliter per day production. Yeah, that's sufficient for you. So this is a sticker. So I just want to look at not river, but when floods occur. So this is a few. I was in Japan during this time writing a book called Japanese Ecosophy. This is Cleanliness in Japan. It's my second book on Japan. So during that time, Typhoon Hagibis occurred. And you can see that despite it was flooded, but you can see floating materials on it. The water is super clean. I'm not talking about river. I'm talking about flooded water. It's clean. And this is India train station. So when I've shown this to my colleagues, I asked, where is this located? They kata, wah, cantik you punya swimming pool. This is not swimming pool. This is a subway station. And according to Professor Shigaura, this was probably one of the oldest subway. It was built immediately after World War II. Yeah, so they can maintain that for 70 years. Therefore, I came back to Japan and wrote this book. After I completed my 100 days journey, I went back to Japan for about 2 weeks. I said, I must write about this because not many people can appreciate this unless you visit. Yeah. So on top of good river, the indicators are not sufficient using technical jargons. A BOD of less than 5 milligram per liter. No one understands except me. Yeah. In this room, and him in this room. Yeah. But if I say that our river is clean because it is swimmable, understand? You understand. And it is approved. And this is very important when I travel. I travel to many places. So in the US, only Boston. So this part of on the left is a city called Boston, where Harvard Business School located, Harvard Medical School located. On the right is called Cambridge, Massachusetts. Yeah, is where MIT located, Harvard College, Harvard Kennedy School, and the rest located on the right. Yeah, and there is a dedicated area for swimming. For that particular year, it was scheduled on July 12th, so people can come to swim. I was there. My friend thought I was there to swim. I said, no. I didn't bring my swimming trunk. And it is now fashionable, not only in Boston, but also in places like Copenhagen. So this is at the river mouth of Copenhagen. People swim. And this is in Paris at a place called Seine River. This is tributary of the bigger river ecosystem connected to Rhine as well. I was there not during this time, but I visited this place. Yeah, so it means that when you talk about a clean river, we have different indicators, no longer technical jargons, but what we can do, the value created of clean river. Tak bayar ni. Okay, so there is a book. I just personally raised this book because the book is very important for me. It's written by Elif Shafak, originally a Turkish. She's now a British. She wrote a book called Rivers. There are rivers in the sky. This is a bestseller at the moment. It is about, you read this book, you are going to read about civilization, about Mesopotamian, ancient Egyptian, Indus Valley, blah, 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 blah. Because it talks about how to manage rivers from different perspective, yeah, by three people. And in this book, it mentioned about this. So if you want, you forget about technical books written by, co-edited by Takashi Asano, you read this book. Yeah, this book is very important for us to raise the importance of river. The title of the book is very interesting. There are rivers in the sky. So this is something I'm going to talk today. Actually, rivers are not only on the ground. yeah, but also on the sky. Yeah. So this is what we call atmospheric rivers. Are long, narrow bands of concentrated water vapors in the atmosphere that transport massive amount of moisture from the tropics to the higher latitudes, driving a large percentage of global extreme precipitation and flooding events. So there are the first article. It was published in 1994. Yeah, and then it was published a lot. But the review article you can read in 2014. There was a theory when we lost an aircraft a few years ago, a Malaysian airline aircraft. It was due to the fact that it was immersed in the atmospheric rivers. And at that time, atmospheric rivers was too large in scale. And at the end of the day, we cannot control where they are. Yeah, so this is a theory, okay? But this is what other countries are trying to change, because the flow of atmospheric rivers can be controlled if you know how to do it. You still remember when Iran bombed few places, US base in Middle East, suddenly it was raining in Iran, because you might be able to direct the flowing of the atmospheric rivers. So this is the study that I'm following at the moment. Yeah, but this is very difficult study because you have to have a satellite, you have to have NASA equivalent facilities to do these studies. You cannot be just doing some calculation. So atmospheric rivers is important, and sometime we were informed about the jet streams very slow, so our flight will be slightly delayed. Say, for example, if you travel from Malaysia to US, to UK, or vice versa. So the pilots will announce that if you capture that, yeah. Moisture transport corridors and monsoon moisture flows. So instead of just focusing on rivers that we have on the ground, we can also think about the rivers in the sky. Yeah, because the rivers in the sky started from tropical regions. So if you can direct, instead of that rivers to be ended in South China Sea, say, for example, it can be directed to places where there is no water sufficient. Yeah, and that's what many people are doing probably in Middle East at the moment. Therefore, if you go travel to some places in Saudi Arabia now, it is green. Yeah, I travel to Saudi Arabia probably 25 years now, regularly, and I can see the difference. Now, when you travel to Mecca, it's green, vegetation's everywhere, and there are some mountains are colored with greenish. This is science behind atmospheric rivers. Yeah, this 7.5 to 15 times the flow of the Mississippi River. It's very fast. And 30 to 50% of the annual West Coast precipitation, and 250 to 375 miles wide. So it's huge, 365 miles wide. And it is more than 1,000 length in terms of size. So whenever it flows, you can see the massive thing. And sometimes it's flooded. And when your aircraft cross that area, boom, you are nowhere. So this is something that we have to understand. Come back to Malaysia. There are a lot of interest in river basin in Malaysia. In Malay literature, say, for example, we have Bumi Lestari. This is second prize. Rebecca Ilham. We have Empangan Zakaria Ali, Sungai Mengalir Lesu Samad Said, Christmas Rimba Harapan, and Lembangan Sungai dalam Peradaban Melayu Abdul Halim Nasir. It's about not only river basin, but also about upstream and downstream catchment. It's about dam, because Empangan and Bumi Lestari about dam. It's about flooding. It's what happened in Christmas, Rimba Harapan. Rimba Harapan ni kat Bentong. Ya, kalau ikut cerita ni lah, betul tak betul saya tak tahu lah. This is people from Bentong can testify this, the name of the place. But recently when I was in Temerloh, on the way to Temerloh, I noticed the name of the villages and the tributary of the rivers. Yes, it could be a real story. It's about agriculture, about community, about village, about city. So this is something that we capture from our literature. And when we talk about bloodstream of civilization, as I mentioned, we have to understand that building resilient civilization requires integrated water governance to enable the water flowing accordingly. Assuming the upstream of Nile, Nile has about 4 countries, crossing 4 countries. Assuming they dam it and they use the water 100%. So Egypt will not be able to get the water. Yeah, so you have to have a governance system. Assuming Negeri Sembilan block the water, put a dam, and there is no Sungai Melaka. Yeah, assuming Negeri Sembilan, I'm talking about Negeri Sembilan because I'm from Negeri Sembilan, okay? But not, okay. And then assuming my village stop the water, there is no Sungai Muar. Yeah, Sungai Muar started from my village. So I was jovially telling my friend, if we want to make money, we dam our kampung, and then we convert our kampung into water catchment as well as dam, and we can sell water to many places, yeah, including to Melaka and to Johor. Sungai Muar has 14 water treatment plants along the catchment. 14. Yeah. So, yeah. Protect water, integrated water governance is very important, despite we are not benefiting from it, but we know that the water will be used by others in the downstream. So key messages for water and civilization. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ خَيْرٍ. We made from water every living thing. River are signs of Allah's creation. Water purifies body and soul. Water is a blessed blessing, a shared blessing. Do not waste water or pollute water. Rivers are associated with paradise. So this is something that I would like to, there is a book that Professor Zulkifli Muhammad Yusuf and I wrote about Tafsir Maudu'i. He's a sheikh. I'm just putting the river component up to the book. It was launched by Tuanku Nazrin, September 2023. And why we write this book? Because we found that a lot of verses in the Quran related to rivers are not properly noted and described and explained. You just imagine there are 56 verses in the Quran about river, and 41 about rivers in paradise. Yeah. So compared to, say, for example, Bidadari is only 10, but rivers in paradise 41. So rivers should be more attractive than Bidadari. Kenapa nak masuk syurga? Oh, dapat sungai. Ada orang cakap macam tu. Yeah. So that's the importance of us, because for us, rivers are not important. We neglect rivers. Therefore, for us, rivers are not something that can really motivate us to work harder and yeah. You see, and water in Quran verses is about 93. And water sources, mata air, is about 21. That is excluding phrases like Al-Kawthar, Salsabil, Al-Yawm. So that's also referred to rivers. Yeah. So if you take rivers overall, at least we have about 59 sentences referring to rivers. So therefore, we have to really study rivers as much. So if you look into the, this is in the book, the classification of nature. So there are environment and natural processes. Environment, there are 4 clusters of system. biosphere, lithosphere, atmosphere, and hydrosphere. When we talk about river, we are talking about hydrosphere. Yeah, so that is rivers, lakes, aquifers, seas, cloud, and the rest. The issues are pollution, degradation, ecological balance, and sustainability. Yeah, when talk about system processes, we are talking about water cycle, nutrient cycle, carbon cycle, and ecological cycle. So this is very important for us to understand. So there are many hadiths related to rivers. You can look at. Prayer is like bathing in a flowing river. This is Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. Al-Kawthar, the river of paradise, Sahih Bukhari. 4 rivers linked to paradise, Sahih Muslim. The Eutrophates will uncover a mountain of gold, Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. 2 visible and 2 hidden rivers, Sahih Muslim. And then paradise beneath which rivers flows, you can see under Sahih Muslim. The river of mercy, Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. Crossing the river after judgment. So this is very important. Some narration describe believers passing beyond the bridge and entering paradise where rivers and abundant water await them. This is Sahih Muslim. So it's very important. We are crossing to enter river, to enter paradise by crossing rivers. Yes, it's very important. So I don't want to describe. I just want to narrate something important because we don't have much time. Lesson from history, say for example, successful civilization manage floods, droughts, irrigation, sanitation, navigation, and institution. You can go to India, say for example. Recently, we discussed with Indian government on making dams along our rivers. Indian has done that since 2000 years ago. So the first dam in the world can be traced to Indian subcontinent. Yeah, so they have done it many years ago. So we need to learn from them. Say for example, Sungai Gombak, we can have a simple dam, and whenever it's polluted, we can close the dam. Yeah, so this is very important. Civilization or empire collapse because of environmental degradation, deforestation, soil erosion, loss of wetlands, water scarcity, poor governance, and conflict among them. So whenever we talk about the loss of power, say for example, empire, normally we are talking about the conflicts. Yeah, because Empire A managed to conquer Empire B, but we forget before it was conquered, they have not enough food. The quality of the food they are taking, the quality of water they are taking are not as good compared to their rivals. So this is very important. Lesson for civilization: water can create and destroy civilization. Flood management is cornerstone. Climate change intensifies extreme floods. Nature-based solutions work, and the future depends on water resilience. So this is something that I would like to end this presentation by a new water reality. It's a climate change, population growth, urbanization, industrial expansion, pollution, and ecosystem. I stop there, probably to allow you to interact with me. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. No, I want to refer to my slide. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. It's a very, very comprehensive talk. Basically, it covers all aspects of water, the use of water, but the most important thing from the viewpoint of our discussion today, the link, the relationship between water and human civilization. So I invite questions, comments. But before that, I just want to say I feel very sad when I listen to Professor Zaini Ujang's lecture whenever he mentioned rivers. I have some nostalgia about the clean rivers. when the earth was still a paradise. When the earth was still a paradise. My childhood associated with Sungai Jengke. Sungai Jengke. Today, Sungai Jengke is almost dry. Almost dry. But decades ago, I'm talking about that. I mean, what? 7 decades ago. 7 decades ago. Okay. The river clean. You can see fishes. You can see fishes in the river. You can see everything in the river, basically. Things not moving, things moving there. Of course, the first school was built near the river. Why? So that the river can serve the needs of the school. We drink water, just in water from the river. You know, the river, sweet taste. I could literally catch one fish by the hands, like 1,000, just that. Yeah, so many fishes there, just catch one. Yeah, those and then of course, very memorable. How I learned to how I learned to swim. Yeah, the swimmable river. I first learned to swim because I was drowned. Because the raft I was on capsized, so I was drowned. So I had to survive. So the determination to survive, I learned how to swim. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But the point is, those were different times. Yeah. The cleanliness and beauty of rivers. So, Prof. Yeah. So now we are talking about polluted rivers. But is there any way that we can turn the clock back? Can we help nature? Can we help to nature to restore nature?
Yeah. I think so. That's what
Yes.
other countries are doing now. Say, for
No,
example,
no. There's a hadith. Given to hadith, very rarely quoted. Yeah? Very rarely quoted. Yeah? Basically, the hadith is about partnership between man and nature. Yeah. Basically, the message of the hadith is if we misuse against nature, nature will fight back against you. But those who use nature wisely, nature will cooperate with you. It is very, very, very important wisdom from the hadith, no? I mula-mula baca this one is actually from hadith written by one Indonesian scholar. Gunakan istilah itu memperbudakkan. Sekiranya kamu memperbudakkan memperbudakkan means to do something negative, memperbudakkan. Alam akan memperbudakkan kamu. I mean, I have that book, then it's a book. So that's it. Yeah. Now, a few days ago, in the Ukraine, we had a talk, we had a discussion during Planetium, and now we have the new center. To tell you, yeah, we decided after meeting then, the Planetium will stay as it is, concentrate on natural environment, sustainability of the natural environment, whereas Sejahtera Center will be named Center for Tawhidic Sustainability Studies and Research, concentrate more on this cultural sustainability. The two must work together. Yeah, we thought and said that in lands belonging to IIUM, there are many rivers and waterfalls. So maybe with your supervision, we can have planetarium to come up with the book, The Rivers and Waterfalls of IIUM. Inshallah. Okay, thank you. Next question. Yes, please.
Yeah, Dato' and Prof. Zaini. My question is actually to continue what Dato' Sri Rector said just now. How are we going to sustain our Sungai Pusu? And how we as IUM, the majority of the population around Sungai Pusu, can coexist, fit ta'ayush. Yani we and the river can live together rather than diperbudakkan, river diperbudakkan. Because kerusi pun Datuk Sri, kita bila I was a president of Academic Staff Association, we do the Clean River. Kerusi apa Senate Hall pun ada dalam tu. Apa nama macam-macam all kind of it's a dumping ground, and actually it's a dumping ground. And parang pun ada, macam all fire hydrant pun ada. So how we can do it? I mean, how we can sustain? Actually, it's not our community, also community outside there. That's number one. Number two,
ada lagi.
how we going to have this sponge? Macam kat Japan and other countries, kita ada smart tunnel, but it's not working. But we still have flooding in Klang Valley. Thank you.
Okay. Smart tunnel, you're talking about Sungai Klang. Okay. There are two branches of Sungai Klang upstream. One is Sungai from Gombak, which is this part. And the other one is Sungai Klang from Klang, Ulu Klang. The Ulu Klang is covered by smart tunnel, but from Gombak there is no smart tunnel. So the flooding is normally occurred through the branches of Sungai Gombak. Yeah, I'm talking about upstream. The convergence is at Masjid Jamek. Yeah, so mostly from Ulu Klang, we had less possibility of flooding. There are 10 types of flooding. Semua 10 lah. Orang kata 7, saya buat 10 semua. Okay. So 75% of our flooding in Malaysia occurred because of flash flood. Flash floods means the flooding occurred maximum of 6 hours. And the causes of flash flood is rainwater intensity higher than what is predicted normally. The system is not able to cope. And the second one, which is very important, is blockage of your drainage system. So mostly blockage of drainage system. Why blockage occurred? Because of sampah sarap banyak. Yeah, because of people throwing rubbish, throwing whatever. I don't want to blame anyone. Yeah, that's the reason. Not because of not enough of a big infrastructure. So that's the reason. Your question, how can the river in this garden of knowledge can be upgraded? I think we know number one already. Number two is something that we have to do upstream. So we know that the upstream of this river is private premises. It's not a big neighborhood built by developers. It's built by individual. Okay, so there are two causes of pollution. One is your drainage system, where you discharge your used water for cleaning from your kitchens, from your bathing area. Of course, your toilet is directed to your septic tank, but the residual or the discharge of the septic tank goes to the drainage system and goes here. Yeah, so that's the causes of the pollution, mainly organic pollutants that we are talking about, and that can be solved if we can have some system upstream, and it must be done by the population themselves, because that's the nature of the situation. And then we strengthen the governance. Say, for example, effective regulation. We can have small wastewater treatment plant upstream, simple, that we have to generate. We have to generate some activities and some say, for example, I don't know. There are many ways to do it. Biogas, biodiesel or whatever. You can produce, but I don't think that's sufficient. So what we can do is just to treat and then to discharge. And for that matter, there must be some funding available to run the system, to build the system, to run the system. Upgrade wastewater infrastructure, as I mentioned, there is no wastewater infrastructure upstream. And then remove waste and sediment. So this can be done one by one. You can tick which one you can do, which one you cannot do. So these are the simplest way I've done. I'm preparing a module for this so that whenever you want to improve that particular site or that particular river tributary, you can just tick which one that you can do yourself without hiring expensive consultant.
Good, Dean, engineering, any view?
Prof. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Zaini Ujang. Well, I'll still continue about our river Sungai Pusu because as director has nostalgia with his river during his childhood. I also have nostalgia with Sungai Pusu since I joined IIUM. We have formed this River of Life community. We have conducted over more than 10 years activities for the community in terms of bringing awareness. We conducted activities for the staff, for the students. We cleaned the river. We took them even outside the campus to the nearby kampongs and communities. I think one of the main issues that we have with our river is the silt pollution by the silt deposition, which comes from upstream, like Dr. Sri mentioned. Of course, we have also even did meetings with communities from all the neighboring kampongs, with all the Kitwa kampongs, and we have discussed with them on all the issues that is happening around. Probably in the past few years, we don't have much of pollution in our river in terms of depositions or littering or even organic to some extent. Sometimes we have because of our STPs. There's sewage treatment plants, sometimes they malfunction. But I think the major issue that we have now is the silting. Our river is choking with silt, sand that comes from upstream. And I think one of this is happening because of either illegal activities that are taking place upstream or legal activities, but are not done properly. Like Dr. Sri mentioned, some of them may be private. People are just doing their own works on their own, and they don't really follow the guidelines and the regulations that are in place. So when it is illegal, I mean, education is not sufficient. Here we have to have enforcement. When it is legal activity, probably if it is done by contractors, I'm not sure whether we have to have education for contractors. They should know what they are doing, because before they indulge in a job, they should know what are the rules, what are the regulations, what are the policies. But of course, we still can, remind them probably. But also enforcement is important. That if you do take a contract, do the job, you don't follow the regulations, you have to bear the consequences. Sometimes our laws are quite lenient so far. I think now the government is increasing the penalties on some of these polluters. I think the latest was increased to I don't know how many years in prison and or 500,000 or 1 million of, because last time it was like 50,000 ringgit. If I have a project which is worth millions of ringgit, I can pay 50,000. I don't have to follow the regulations. So my question here, I'm not sure whether it's a question, but I think when you talk about the eco philosophy, for example, are we lacking that? What can we do here to address this issue? We have been like almost more than 10 years trying to get this issue solved. And upstream is something that's outside our capability and capacity. We approached, and that was Zaini Ujang helped us a lot actually when he was as KCU on this. So what
Thank you for it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Question? Yes.
Ni
Oh, tu.
After her, yes.
Assalamualaikum, Datuk Seri.
Salam.
I'm wondering if Datuk Sri is aware about this Aflaj system in Oman, which has been operating since 540 BCE. And they have around 3,000 active Aflaj systems. And Datuk Sri and us, we visited in Nizwa, one of this. They have a very good system that maybe we can start introducing to Malaysia.
Okay. Ada soalan? Ya, sila. Hanafi. Ya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Datuk Seri. Okay. First of all, thank you. I just want to, what I amazed about you yourself, about your work, is that you're connecting your river through attitude, governance, leadership, and etc. So now I want to connect what you taught us just now, which is on the theory of change, and the one that we discussed this morning on the indicators. So my question is, which comes first, theory of change or the indicators? Indicators, the one you were saying about swimmable. So which one starts first?
I think the easiest way is to show benefits first, and then people know that they have to do something. This is the issue in kampung in Malaysia, including in Jerantut, in apa? Kat mana tadi? Jengker, because we cannot control individual premise owners. We can control people that require some kind of permission by developers, by I mean big developers for accommodation, township, or for plantation. But individual owners of half an acre land, we allow them to do whatever. But if 100 of them doing the same thing, and it will be affected our river. So this is happening in not only in this part of Malaysia, but also many parts of the world. Yeah, so it's very Indonesia, Thailand, and the rest. So what I can recommend is to work very closely with them, and then to have a committee together, and then to sell some ideas. Say, for example, if you can look after your area, this part of your IIUM's lake can be shared together. Say, for example, we can have a swimmable facilities and whatnot, but you have to do something. And in order to do that, it is not cheap. Yeah, in order to increase, say, for example, in Japan, they have, if you read this book, they have Jokasho law for that kind of facilities in resort areas, in isolated islands, say, for example. We can have sewage treatment plant, and we can allow septic tank to be there, because septic tank will be there, septic. Yeah, no one looking after them. They don't know where the septic tank. Suddenly they found that the septic tank is underneath their kitchen, or underneath the whatever. So it must be monitored. In Japan, only, yeah, this is very important, only one ministry looking after sewerage act. The rest of the ministry, including ministry in charge of agriculture, industry in charge of rural development, tourism and whatnot, they use Jokasho law. Jokasho means a special septic tank. I give you an example. It is a washing machine for your used water from your house. Toilets, kitchen, laundry, whatever from your house. You must remember, whenever you cook, you drain something out from your house, that will be polluting, yeah, the environment. Oh, saya tak ada buat apa-apa. Saya tak. Yeah, the moment you cook, and if it is not connected to a kind of wastewater treatment facilities, it is polluting the water. Yeah, and including laundry. Laundry is a good thing. You have to do it because it's a must. But if you don't connect that to wastewater treatment plant facilities, you are polluting the river. So it is very common. We have to tell people about it. There are many ways, ancient traditions, they are the same. They have less water, what they do. But you must remember, in the hilly area, we have, say for example, in Switzerland, they have snow caps and the rest. So what they do, they have various what we call weir, W-I-E-R, weir, or in some places in Japan, they call it SABO, sabo. So these are the facilities built in order to retain water from flowing directly out from the river. So there will be the water collected, and then from collected A to collected B, collected C, and whatnot. So these are the systems that they have in place. And there was a fatwa that you cannot waste water, including to drain the water out from the river to the sea in places like Middle East. Yeah. So this is something that we have to learn from different perspective, different civilization.
Okay, Vikram. Yes, please. Yes, then.
Hello.
Then.
Yeah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I'm Dr. Fatmi Shew from Usuluddin Comparative Religion and Philosophy, Kuliah of Abdullah Hamid Abu Sulaiman, KRKHS. Thank you very much, Prof. This is very insightful talk related to water. And as we see today, everybody is talking about water. My concern it is how can we instill these values in the education system to create this awareness from the early stage. When you look at the children, how we can create this awareness in their mind as well as to work with it. Even though we Muslims know that in the masjid, the imam is talking about how to take ablution. But when you look at even in our own masjid here in IIUM, really we hear about the subject of water. Even we can see many people when they go and take ablution, they open the water tap and the water flows like, that we waste. It is a lot of waste when you look at the reality. Even the system, the tapping system is leaking here and there. So how can we manage this? And another thing, have you come out with a small booklet that can remind people, maybe from the early stage, children, educators, especially when we look at the teacher, we have the teachers who are teaching our children. Do you think that would be right to have a training for the teachers who are going to teach our children at the early stage? And maybe you are aware that me and Dr. Ainul were a part of this Erasmus project related to water ethics from interreligious perspective. And we invited you to share your ideas with our team when they came here. So how can we engage the members of the community from different civilization, like you talk about civilization, or religions or cultures, especially Malaysia is the best example, to come out with a model or a module that others can follow. So this is what I can say, and thank you very much, Prof. I hope this will be very useful for us. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, I would like to refer to the book that I mentioned earlier, Cleanliness in Japan. This is my conclusion of what's happening in Japan. They have very strong culture traditions. Japanese people are very close to us. They take shower every day. They use water for cleansing. They wash their hands before they eat. They take out their shoes before they enter their house. Many things, except they are not declaring shahada and whatnot. So why is this not the one that kenapa tak sama ni? Hello, siapa yang buat ni? Tolong tunjukkan slide ni. Hello, who is online? Tak, ini lain. I'm sharing, but this is not what I'm sharing. Oh, this one. Okay. So, so we share almost the same culture traits in relation to cleanliness in Japan. Yes, for example, and Japan started with personal cleanliness. They take shower every day, though. You read this. The first British English arrived Japan in 1598. By the name of William Adams. He was shocked because Japanese are so clean. The streets are so clean compared to London. There is no feces of animals, unlike in London. It took him two years to arrive Japan, and without taking bath or shower, and without changing clothes. Arriving Japan, and suddenly Japanese people said, "This is alien. This is siapa ni orang datang tak mandi tak apa, bau busuk apa semua kan." They stop these people to land on the in Japan. Yeah, you stay in your ship. Don't enter this country. So it is all reported here, okay, in the book. So please read that book. And on top of that, they have community cleanliness. And community cleanliness in Japan is structured. It is compulsory for 15 minutes every day after lunch, all students for 12 years to clean 4 things, 4 places. One, their classroom, their outside the classroom, including library, whatever, and then surrounding the school, and then toilets. Everyone must do the same. Yeah, and within 12 years of education, they have done it minimum of 500 times. They know how to clean, they know how to serve, because before that, they have lunch, and lunch is prepared by the school, and there is no canteen in school, so they have to eat, and they have to be served by the student themselves. So they learn how to serve. They have some ethic to say thank you, and then to bow, and whatever, yeah, so whatever. That is community cleanliness taught in school. A respect for shared spaces and facilities. Say, for example, they travel to United States for football match, say, for example, they clean the stadium. Why? Because it is cultured. Whenever they find rubbish on the street, they will take it, put in their pockets, yeah? And teaching cleanliness, this is what I mentioned. This is called tokatsu. Professor Rosnani Hassan, Hashim, she was involved in this project, tokatsu. So the person that I referred to was from Tokyo University. She was mentioning Professor Rosnani, yeah, about that. That is the culture part. And the other one is the practice. So it's not only cultural that they learn somewhere, but also in organization. They have KonMari's method, say, for example, if you are too messy, your house is not tidy, your office is not tidy, so you hire a consultant, KonMari, yeah? Or you have 5S, or you go to 7 minutes Shinkansen cleaning ritual. So this is implementation of cultural in a modern setting, in workplace, and it is recognized. And say, for example, they have washlet in toilets, yeah, limited public trash bins and whatnot. So this is a practice. Everyone is supposed to do it, not only janitors. There is no janitors in school, so you have to clean your own school. There is no janitors in the office. You have to clean your own office. So, and then modernity. This is where they have climate change, climate action, climate adaptation, low carbon society, zero discharge, and whatnot. So my comment is this: sometime we would like to be modern, we would like to be advanced, so we started with climate change. And we are not cleaning our toilets. Yeah, toilet is not my job. This is the job of janitors. So at the end of the day, no one clean the toilets because janitors come only once a day, early in the morning before you come to office. So this is something that we have to do. And this must start. Whenever my friend from Boston read this book, he came back to me saying that I'm going to implement to my school because he owned a school. Yeah, he said, I want to exactly do whatever you you wrote in this book. So kalau orang Boston pun baca buku ni, gombak takkan tak nak baca.
Okay. Chris,
Assalamualaikum.
Yeah, someone on the line. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam warahmatullah.
Yeah, I'm Prof. Lokman from Planetium. I wish to invite Datuk Sri to Planetium as well sooner, and then we can talk more about the rivers in Kuantan as well, in IIUM Kuantan. My question now is related to the community. When you travel along the globe for 100 days there, what do you think? Is it because of the community itself being influenced by their climates or being influenced by their weather, then they become like that? They become so, like in Japan, they're very clean and stuff, you know, if compared to Malaysia. Because of like Malaysia, because our climate is okay. I mean, we have all the rain, we have all the water sources, very easy. So we ignore the things. We make a pollution. We don't bother about the things. So the community itself just act like that. But because of the four-season country, for example, in Norway, there's very limitations of the sources and stuff. So they have to behave like that, and they mold their behavioral, their culture to make the things appropriate, and they can work together with the nature. Or they forced to make that kind of behavior because of they want to live in comfortable and kind of things. Because as we all know that they don't have tauhidic only, but the way they practice their life is more than ours as a Muslim, I believe, right? But they don't have the tauhidic, they don't have the shahada. So what do you think, Datuk Sri, Prof. Zaini, related to that kind of thing? Because I believe that community behavior change is the most important thing for us to change that kind of environment issue kind of thing. So I hope that perhaps we get some kind of thing. Yeah.
I think if you look into theory of change of places like Qatar, they have their own problems in Qatar. So, and they have something that they want to achieve, the targets that they want to achieve. And it occurs only about 20 years ago. The determination is very important. So in Malaysia, say for example, cleanliness is happening compared to some countries that I visited. Yeah, Malaysia is cleaner, say for example. But compared to Japan, we are far away. Japan is the cleanest country in the world. If you go to Japan, you travel with Japan Airlines, say for example. In Japan Airlines, stewardess are very meticulous. They were clean and whatnot. But they must remember, before you finish your things in the toilets, you clean first. So stewardess is easier. Instead of 10 minutes, stewardess require around 2 minutes to do it. Because the passengers themselves helping to clean if they are Japanese. Yeah. It's difficult for me to put it in English, but macam inilah, jangan buang najis kat orang supaya tak malu ke najis orang bau. Yeah. So, and in the tradition of samurai, they are traceable, untraceable. Whenever they go, people don't know that they were there. So that is the ethics of samurai. And if you are to be traced, means that you are ordinary person. You must be untraceable. You tidur malam tadi pun you tak. This is something important for me to say here. I asked employees of one big hotel in Kuala Lumpur because I know these people for about 10 years, 20 years ago. And I asked them, can you tell me the previous customers that staying in this room? Dia kata, boleh, if they are Japanese. Because they will clean the rooms as if no one sleep in that room. before. Baru tahu This what Japanese are. Dia keluar daripada bilik tu, you tak tahu ada orang pernah tinggal kat situ malam tu. Dia akan lipat balik macam mana you masuk, macam tu lah dia keluar. That is samurai traditions. Ya.
Okay.
Tak percaya.
No, two questions. It's one and one more. Sorry. Okay. That's it.
Assalamualaikum. Can I ask question?
No, please.
Assalamualaikum. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sri. And your point on the centrality of water and river in the rise and fall of civilization is very pertinent, because right now there is a resurgence of interest among the public to know more about history. But some of the challenges is that they are not interested in the critical and the evidence-based history. As you presented, is science-based. And going back to our history, as you mentioned, that one example is the civilization of Kedah Tua, right? Instead of looking at the Hikayat, as you mentioned, is definitely the explanation for the decline of the Kedah Tua we should look at the science factor, the regression of sea level, that ultimately what we have, the Lembah Bojang today, is a very narrow and it's a very shallow, but previously during the height of civilization, it was a very deep. So definitely, based on your observation, there are studies that mention this, possibly just like your work on Tafsir Mawzu'i, there is a need for interdisciplinary study to focus on this thing and the scientific explanation in the context of history of our country, to look at rise and fall of civilization on this issue, for example.
Yeah, agreed.
Prof.
I agree.
Another question first. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Alias.
Yes, please.
Dr. Zaini, just
Wait. Hello. Like, I want to give chance to this one first. Wait. Okay. Yes.
should I ask question or should anybody ask question?
No.
Someone is asking.
The question I'm asking. Okay.
I'm Alias. From
Hello.
Prof. Zaini, can you tell me a little bit about this River of Life project for Kuala Lumpur? Is it a successful one or what? Thank you. Halfway.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more. What is halfway?
There is a legal battle now that I'm also involved, so I cannot comment on that.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Salam warahmatullah. Sila.
I have two questions. The first one, we know that Malaysia is planning on having massive data center in Malaysia. Do you expect there are disruptions in our water resources? And do you know if there is any plan for the preparation of these data centers?
Okay.
And number two, can I continue?
Yeah.
And number two, I'm interested in the concept that you mentioned about atmospheric river, which is related to my research. Do you know how we can measure this atmospheric river? And is there any way we can see it in our eyes? Thank you, Prof.
Okay. The first question is very, very important. About 5 years ago, KASA at that time, Kementerian Alam Sekitar dan Air, make a plan for 1,000 MLD of new water for Malaysia from treated wastewater. Yeah, and this was captured by data centers companies, and we do the same. Therefore, we do it in places like Johor Bahru. Why? Because Johor Bahru has a lot of wastewater treatment plant. So the location of data centers in Malaysia, especially in Johor at the moment, is where wastewater treatment plant is located. So it is exactly what Takashi Asano started and what my research for my PhD started about 30 years ago. Yeah. So we don't use from river, but we use from treated wastewater. Because this is only for cooling processes, not for drinking.
Yeah, Prof. Hafiz, question?
So tadi yang soalan ni cerita tentang yang apa tu, yang Sungai Pasu ni kan, Sungai Pusu. Assuming we can get a big amount of water treated with water, we can sell the treated wastewater. Treated wastewater is a new water for Malaysia, and this is how data centers and the rest treated wastewater that allow places like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Doha to be built upon. Yeah. Well, you have to talk to me later. This is yeah.
Okay. Is your question answered?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I say yes. I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Last question now. I get a chance is online because
Yeah. Online, please.
online. No, that's it. All right. Thank you, Prof. Zaini, thank you. We have to stop here. Time is up. But I would like to take this opportunity on behalf of the Rector's Office to thank Professor Zaini Ujang for his presentation, which apparently aroused a lot of interest and concern, because this is a very, very fundamental question. It shows how important what is. But since we spent time here just now on the issue, the question of learning from other cultures about cleanliness, yes, we can do that, of course, but we must come back to our own tradition, to our own culture. There must be something wrong in our religious education when this gap between knowledge and practice. So when the prophet, or our prophet, declared that cleanliness is half of Iman, cleanliness is half of Iman, why is it that there's no cleanliness? There must be something wrong. To me, is the orientation of education. We are basically, we know, but we don't put that into practice. So we need a fundamental change in the way our education. It's basically that the problem. Because we have the answer, basically, we see all the answers are in Islam. And then why, in that case, if that's so, why are we now burdened with all these kinds of resources? Yeah. So yes, look to the east, look to the west, but now look also at our own. That's basically that, inshallah. I think IIUM, as international, as an Islamic university, we have a role to play to bring about these changes, inshallah, from the smallest to the greatest. So please join me in thanking Professor Ane by giving a big applause. Inshallah, after this, the 7 lectures, inshallah, will be made into a book. Oh yeah, sorry, outside, Professor Zaini brought a lot of books for sale, basically. Okay, to the pengacara.
Valued audience, thank you, Professors, Datuk Sri and Honorable Rector, for moderating the sessions and all respected guests for the fruitful discussions. On that note, may I invite our Rector to present a token of appreciation to Professor Datuk Sri Insinyur Dr. Zaini Ujang. Dear esteemed guests, thank you all for your engagement. Thank you to our viewers online as well. If you need to revisit our series of lectures, you may browse the IIUM YouTube to listen back to the recording, inshallah. We truly appreciate your time spent here, and may Allah bless us with His rahmah and guide us through with tawfiq and hidayah. On behalf of International Islamic University Malaysia, we record our sincere appreciation to all of you. Thank you all, and with that, we end our session with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-Asr. وبالله التوفيق والهداية والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We wish to get everyone to come down and gather around with our distinguished speaker and esteemed guests for the group photography session.